Program, webinar series hosted by the Ernakulam district. Today we discuss on the topic getting future ready with digital skills. And for that we have with us today Ms. Annie Mathew, who is joining us from Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. She's the Director Developer Relations at Microsoft Asia Pacific. On behalf of the Government of Kerala and Additional Skill Acquisition Program, we welcome you, ma'am.
Thank you, Varghese. Very pleased to be here. Thank you for the invitation. I'm happy to have some conversation with the.
Thank you so much for your time, ma'am. So before we proceed any further, a quick introduction on Ms. Annie Mathew. She's the Developer Relations at Microsoft Asia Pacific region. She is the Senior Director at Microsoft, and as part of her current role, she grows a vibrant ecosystem of professional developers across the region to enable innovation, solution on the latest cloud technologies. She is a board member of HIMSS India and heads the Women in Health Committee with the mission of enabling healthcare with technology. She was a founding board director member of Star Village, India's first telecom incubator, and executive council member of Andhra Pradesh Innovation Council. She was honored by the Chief Minister of Kerala for her work with startup ecosystem. She has spoken in various forums, including Cannes Lion Festival. She has received many accolades, including nominations to Stree Shakti Award, and was listed in the top 10 women technology by KYMI. Annie holds a postgraduate program in management from Indian School of Business and a BTech in electrical engineering from University of Kerala. She has varied experience across software, wireless, IT, and manufacturing. She enjoys reading, traveling, and is a lifelong learner. She is professional about the role of women and technology in improving lives. And over to you, ma'am, to brief us on getting ready, future ready with digital skills.
Thank you, Varghese. That was quite an extensive introduction. Thank you for that. I'm really happy to talk today about getting future ready with digital skills. I think this is a moment in time which is very unique. And so we also need to think about unique ways to get ready with the future. And digital is going to be a big part of our journey going forward. Let me jump right into it. The way I see it, it's a story in 3 acts. We are in the respond stage right now. So this is a great time to prepare yourself for professional success. We'll talk about that in depth today. The next one is actually rebound. And it's key for us to remember to stay on the cutting edge of opportunity. And the opportunity is global. And you know a little bit of why, but we'll dive into it a little bit more. The third one is reimagine. And unless you're skilled, how do we take a vision to reality? And Kerala is at the forefront in terms of startup and innovation. So this is nothing new to us Malayalis. And I hope that we will actually take leaps and strides in the next decade, born out of these innovations, which are born out of necessity, really. I'll not dive more into this. I just want to say the fun side. I make sure that among everything I do, I have a lot of fun alongside it. And I'm very passionate about empowering women to achieve more, because I truly believe that if you empower a woman, you empower an entire society, not just a woman. I work a lot with small developer communities, so a lot of what I'm going to talk to you will come from the perspective of what are the opportunities in the digital, and how do you actually skill up and get going. I'm going to take you back before I take you to the future. This is 1905, and what you're seeing here is a Flatiron building on Broadway in New York City. In 1905, the whole economy was run through horse-led carriages. That was the main transportation mechanism. And what that led to were there were about 100,000 families which were building their lives around this horse, maintaining the horses, running the carriages, cleaning up the roads, and so on and so forth. Cut to 1925, in just 20 years, what do you see on the streets? There are no horses around. It's all automobiles on the curb, on the side, great pack of automobiles being chartered everywhere. So one thing is, what happened to those people who were looking after carriages? In fact, that period emerges as a great period of innovation, when people who are actually building careers and livelihoods around horses and things like that of that age actually learned how to transform themselves, upskill themselves, and move on and take new jobs. Not everybody had it easy, and it was not an easy time. It's very similar to the times we are looking at now, when we see a lot of changes coming in. But the point is that it only led to more productivity, more innovation, better livelihood, and things like that. And so that's the point I want to emphasize here, that periods of change also are great periods of opportunity. And that's the digital transformation age we are living in. You can think of it as digital transformation on steroids, if you will, because everything that used to be a paper and pen or an interaction in person actually has now just become over a call like this, or a phone, or maybe an app, and you're familiar with it. So this is a great period of transformation. We were preparing for it from the last 10 years, but what the current situation has done is that we have no time to take a gradual process. Everybody is on board with the digital transformation, but how do we make sure that we carry everyone along in this journey of skilling and reskilling and being ready for this opportunities that come out of this? So some of the drivers of this is cloud, data, and algorithms. So the reason we could actually go through this journey of digital transformation is only because the infrastructure is there. And that's a great point in essence for Kerala as well. Some of the basic fundamental infra needs to come from the government, and it's already there. And as we look around the world, everybody is trying to get onto the 5Gs and the IoT enabled stuff and all of that. So there's enough cloud compute power, there's enough capability for data to travel through bandwidth, and of course, talent on creating the right algorithms and stuff required to actually turn these visions into reality. At the end of the day, it's a journey. It's not a master move. And I think this would be a recurring theme in what I speak to you today. It is not like I can create an app and now I'm digitally transformed. It doesn't work like that. It is a journey of transformation which is born out of something very interesting, value. And so the purpose of every digital transformation is about the value it creates. It's not about an app or a IoT device or something else, but it's literally about people and the value they need created by technology. So people first. So that the whole digital transformation is about people first. And it's important to pause and absorb that, because sometimes we are in a frenzy to create hundreds of applications and apps and structures and databases and whatnot, and slap on a lot of intelligence on top of it. But what is it that we are creating is the first step to take. Who is it delivering value to? What is that value? And then build on top of it. I think this is a great example of the current situation, because when it came to people saying that contactless, we wanted everything contactless. We did not want contact with each other. And from that was born the kiosk, which had contactless COVID testing or screening. There were applications which every transit pass was kind of using, so reducing contact. So it was all born out of a necessity and a value that people required. And then came technology that actually delivered that value. And if you look at big and small organizations which have done well, it is done well because they have put people at the center. So it's about the customer and the value they need. It's about the teams and the culture they need. Intelligent cloud and edge. So the cloud is the journey. As I said earlier, a lot of it is possible today only because of the cloud infrastructure that's available. And what's interesting now is that intelligence is at the edge as much as it is on the cloud. When I say edge, it means your smartphone, your PC, your door, the fridge, you name it, anything physical device that is there and that requires to have taken action based on some intelligent analytics, and a decision is made and an action is taken. So that is actually the intelligent cloud and intelligent edge, and that's where a lot of opportunities are coming from as well. So if you look at it, data and artificial intelligence are the two big drivers of the next level of transformation, but we can simplify it. But just by looking at what's going to happen, and these numbers were before COVID hit, so I think post-COVID there will be a multiplication of these numbers. But even as it was, we expected 50 billion connected devices by 2030. And imagine the amount of data that spews out. 175 zettabytes of data by 2025. And unless we do something with this data, it's useless. So what organizations do typically is use it to either optimize operations, and this is a good way of looking at what's possible. Can we optimize operations? Can you empower people? Are you engaging customers? Or are you transforming products? It kind of falls between these four pillars. And the ability to create a digital feedback loop, that is, take data, understand, gather insights, and put the decision back into the next system. That's how it works. Let's look practically at how Tesla uses it. So what's the difference between these modern organizations which are very digital, born in the digital world, versus traditional businesses? And that's where we'll see a lot of shift happening now from the traditional businesses which actually need to start using a lot of digital, and that's going to get accelerated. So if you look at Tesla, you've seen those automated cars, right? Now, what Tesla does here is that they capture a lot of data from their cars. So they capture digital signal from across their businesses, and they looked at consumer reports and vehicle telemetry and found that there was an issue. There was a brake performance issue. And this is a real case that happened across a fleet. So they connected the data from the customer with the data coming in from the vehicle, the telemetry for the suspect cars, did their analysis, used their algorithms to understand the issue, and figured out that, okay, you need to fix the stopping distance. When you brake, you need to stop it X amount ahead of time. Now, in a typical car manufacturer scenario, you will have to recall millions of cars or maybe tens of thousands of cars, get the software updated or whatever it is fixed, send the cars back out. Imagine the time it takes, the waste of money, dissatisfaction with the customers. What could Tesla do because they had all the software embedded is that they could do an over-the-air fix. And what over-the-air fix means is that they could just update the software instantly or in a few minutes from the headquarters. And voila, the cars are now updated. So this is where Tesla gains, and Tesla is doing extremely well now in the current scenario, or rather having a better outlook right now because of the digital transformation place they are in. And now this is something that we will have to kind of take care of as we go forward. So how are they doing it? The average American car company has about 1% software developers in it, whereas Tesla has about 6.6% employees who are developers. And it's not just Tesla, right? And it's not just auto. Education, retail and construction, entertainment and hospitality, healthcare, financial services, government, manufacturing, retail and wholesale, distribution, logistics, all of that combined. The number of industries which are hiring developers is literally growing by the day. And earlier it used to be that all these software engineers are sitting inside IT services organizations. But today that's not the case. In any vertical, they are hiring software developers and managers and project managers to make sure that they are able to make that journey from being traditional business to, okay, what's this new world of data and people and mobile and all of this? They need to make sense and actually be able to use it. Now, beyond computer science, if you look overall, jobs requiring technical skills, and this is from the US labor statistics. And this is where I was saying earlier that the opportunity is global. It's not only in Kerala. 50%, just in US alone, 50% of the jobs requiring technical skills, 50% of the jobs are requiring technical skills today. And the assumption is in the next 10 years, 77% will require 10 years. And I'll go as much as to say 100% will need to be digitally literate in the next few years, because right now everything is accelerated so much. Now, interesting to see that 71% of the STEM jobs are in computer science. Yet only 8% of the STEM graduates fill the pipeline. And STEM is actually science, technology, engineering, medicine. So only 8% of the STEM graduates are actually filling the pipeline. There's, what does that mean? 92% of the jobs which require some kind of technology is underemployed or unemployed. I mean, unemployed, but those jobs are vacant. And on the other hand, you have a similar number of people who are unemployed or underemployed. You can do the math and figure out that definitely there's an opportunity in the STEM area. It could be science, technology, engineering, medicine, any of those areas for people to skill, upskill, and kind of grab the opportunities that are emerging. I'm trying to move the slide. Okay. All right. So this is from 2018, and Jeff Weiner, who's the CEO of LinkedIn, says that every year he looks at it, every month and quarter he looks at it, and pretty much the same. The gaps in skills, it's not just STEM, not just engineering and technology. Communication skills are in the highest demand and the highest scarcity across sectors. Imagine that. You're good at language, that's it. Opportunity is lying there. Basic digital literacy is increasingly critical to careers across professions. It doesn't matter, you may be a dance teacher, but there is still technology required to make those lights. Or if you know a little bit of technology, you can actually make those blinking lights. Today, you're dependent on someone else to do it. What if you know a little bit of technology and you are able to do that? Or take healthcare or education or any of those. But basic digital literacy is an absolute must. And Kerala has that horsepower. We have the talent who can actually skill up very, very well on digital as well. And I would assume that a good number is already digitally literate. But if we are not, we should make sure that more of us are actually digitally literate. So there you go, 450,000 professionals with software development skills required in the US. And so a quick quote from Satya Nadella, admirable leader. And he is a CEO of Microsoft, where I work. And it's a daily inspiration to be seeing his thoughts, vision, and how we align with that. He's a very empathetic leader. And he talks about our goal being to democratize AI. And you can replace AI with technology. So our goal is to democratize technology, to empower every person and every organization to achieve more. And that's not just a statement. You will see that in the tools and products that we make. And I'll show you that in a bit. So the work and the nature of jobs are changing. I've just put a few out here on the right side, which we think are going to be very differentiated jobs that are coming up. Have you heard about the virtual space designer? Just think about it. We are saying we all want to work from home, or rather, partly work from home. A lot of companies are selling off their offices and saying, why not? Everybody can work from home. Now, that's easy to say, but we are missing the social connection, right? And a lot of what we do as people is also dependent on energy and passion created by meeting with each other and talking to each other. So, so a lot of virtual reality, extended reality, and mixed reality is going to be key in the future. And how do you design those spaces? They're very different from the physical spaces that we have designed. So great job opportunities there. Hacker. How do you do farming in deep sea? IT data analytics is already there. That's a job that's already there, but there's going to be tons of those jobs coming up. Trainers for autonomous cars. How do you think the autonomous cars are getting trained? People are actually driving them around and taking some decisions, and the decisions are going into algorithms. So these are all different kinds of jobs that I wanted to just highlight, so you broaden your mind and think about what else. Now, I've given on the left side here some of the existing ones, right? But what to think about? When you say digital literacy for everyone, it's about citizen developers. What can somebody who has no idea of coding, never been to engineering, and no software, what can they do? There's still jobs for you in the tech world. That's the interesting thing. And we call them citizen developers. You have the idea and you just want to quickly drag and drop some things and create an application. You can do that today with Power Platform, which is one of those platforms from Microsoft to enable you to do that. I'll show you a peep into that later. Industry plus technology. No longer do we want people to just go to one discipline, learn that, and come back. We want engineers who are also good at music, maybe, or art or science, because the more and more human computer interaction is becoming a key part of work. It means that we want engineers who understand the humans, and you want humans who understand the computer. So it's at the junction of this that real value lies. So if you have been sending your children to IIT coaching classes and only that, maybe it's good to give him an hour on music as well, right? So software developers. So you can see here plenty of jobs on that. You can be a web developer, mobile developer, analytics, data science, or data engineer. Cybersecurity is huge. DevOps is a hugely upcoming field, which is about marrying development and operations. Embedded for all the IoT stuff. Gaming is going to be it's already a big booming business, and there's opportunities there. Now, beyond all those skills, what are those skills for the future? In my view, these four are super critical. And if we look 20 years hence, and what jobs will we be doing, our children be doing, and our grandchildren be skilling up for? It's hard to say what those jobs will be, because there's AI today, there's quantum computing tomorrow, right? Today there is containers, and tomorrow there's serverless. So it's very difficult to say what exactly would be the future 20 years hence. So if that's the scene, what should we be skilling on? Definitely, we should be skilling up on these four things. Communication, we saw earlier that communication skills are needed across the board, but this communication I'm talking about is a person's communication skills. You may have a great idea and you may be a great technologist or a great person at whatever you do, but unless you're able to communicate, you cannot influence people to follow you and do what's needed. Problem solving, critical thinking, and creativity. So hopefully we are inculcating these skills in our students, in our children, and actually knowing that those skills matter a lot. Because regardless of what changes, if you have those four skills, you're going to be able to make your living, succeed, excel, everything that you need to be. A quick look at reimagining retail. So when we say that get skilled for the upcoming future, the immediate future, what do we mean? So in retail, there was a shift in consumer behavior. People who went to stores to buy stuff are now buying online. What did that do to the retailers? Their sites, which could barely handle 100, 200 concurrent users, that is users at the same time, suddenly had a hit of 1,000 and 2,000 concurrent users, and it crashed. So they had to quickly create mobile apps, restructure their architecture, create web apps, etc. So there's a huge opportunity for web app, mobile app developers. Fraud protection, everything has gone digital, and everybody's in a hurry to go digital. But in that process, there's a lot of fraud possibilities, and there's need for fraud protection. There you go. Your cybersecurity and architecture specialists are actually called in to make sure. So there's a lot of opportunity in cybersecurity currently. There was an increase in service demand. So call centers, now they have moved home, they're working from home, not enough infrastructure, and the load of number of people calling in increased. So bots actually came to help a lot of them, where they created quick bots on their website or on their mobiles, and created an FAQ, that's question and answers, and the bot handles the first level of questions that come in from customers. So you get where I'm going. This goes back to reimagining phase of that. Know that when situations changing, there are opportunities. So I think it was Winston Churchill who said that never waste a crisis. So when there is a crisis, there is also opportunity. And that opportunity actually converts to some job opportunities. So all the more reason to skill up. And let me give you a quick glimpse of skilling up has changed. How we learn has changed. We used to go to a hands-on, we used to go to a workshop, we used to go to some seminars or maybe some conferences to learn. Largely what we learned in university was what we had. In 20 years hence, we find that, oh, it's hard to learn, right? So the closer you are to your graduation, your speed at which you absorb is good. But the further and further you go away, like I am, 10 years down, 20 years down, 30 years down, it's going to be a little more harder. And the way we learn has changed, and that is good because now it's easier for us to learn. So it has changed to meetups. And I'll show you in a minute where you can find these meetups just around you. So don't worry about trying to figure out everything by yourself. Go to these meetups where people like you are congregating. There are beginners and expert mixed up, so you get a lot of advice. So, okay, I today am facing a retrenchment, or my job is not going to be very interesting. I want to become a data scientist. Where do I go? I can go to meetup.com, find the data scientist meetup, go meet up with them. They'll on a regular basis be meeting up, meet people, understand what's the learning, and then kind of use that. Similarly, hackathons, code wars, code camps, these are all new terms and new things that are happening. The thing is, this is happening out there for everyone. So it's up to you to decide whether you want to pick up a hackathon, go join. You don't know anything maybe about that particular subject or technology. That's okay. Create a team, partner up, and figure things out. So the whole ethos of learning is learn through hacking. And hacking is a way of figuring out things for yourself. And that's where the whole learning thing has gone. Another big pillar is self-learn. So you're not going to learn a lot of the things you need in a classroom, but there are tons of MOOCs out there. MOOCs are like the large online learning portals. GitHub is a great place where you can go, and there's a lot of code already written. You don't have to rewrite everything. So pick up software that's available, make the changes, and run with it. So this is meetup.com. Go log into meetup.com, look for meetups near you, groups near you, or events near you, and then pick anything you want out of it. So you're interested in startups, go to Startups Club Kochi. JavaScript, there's Kochi JavaScript Ninjas. Okay, I don't like anything. I like communication. Go to Toastmasters Club. So you even have bike riding meetups right here. So interesting, right? The world has changed. And if you didn't know about meetups, this is the time to go explore. Another thing is to build on innovation. Don't try to reinvent the wheel. Go find the platforms that you can use. The reason is that I'm just showing you a few of the innovations from Microsoft. And if you look at this particular one on 96% ResNet vision test, so object detection was a tough thing, but right now it's reached human parity. Now, what human parity means is that whatever the human eye can detect and understand, the computer can too. Conversational Q&A human parity. If I have a real human speaking and a machine speaking, you will not be able to make out the difference. So that's called human parity. And when technology achieves human parity, is when it's a great time to dive deep into it. Open source, like I told you, don't try to reinvent the wheel. There's so much of open source available out there. Another trend today is to bring the open source learnings and methodologies and frameworks inside large organizations, like say Microsoft, for example. So open source is not just something that a bunch of people do for fun, but it's now very much a philosophy of work inside big organizations, outside, etc. Because a lot of the time when you are developing applications on calling a function or on top of some other API, there's a whole, it's like the tip of the iceberg. There's a whole iceberg below, which is all open source and non-open source stuff out there. So this is where, how do we actually empower every person and every organization? So on the left, you see GitHub, Visual Studio. So if you're a developer or a technology person, you must have a GitHub resume. It is not the usual resume, but GitHub resume is about the projects you've done and stuff like that. Now, Microsoft Azure Services and API sit in the center and helps developers build solutions, but also on the right side, you can see Microsoft Flow and Power Apps. Yeah, this is for citizen developers. This is for people who don't know coding, but who want to pick up something. We do app in a day. That's a basic app you can do in a day with Power Apps. It's drag and drop and create a mobile app in a day. Imagine that. Small businesses, you need to reach out you need to get customer information, you need to send out something, you can use Power Apps. And Flow actually allows you to create the workflow. Very simple stuff. I just need you to know that this is there for people who are not big on technology. And that's the thing. You saw that 92% of jobs which require some kind of technical literacy. So there are this technology for citizen developers. So take that on, learn it, and then make sure that you are ready for the next one. So we don't go to a 4-year degree anymore. It's a 50-year degree, or maybe 60 or 70, or however long you want to live and learn. So if you look at this, there's an increase of 120 million students by 2030. That number will go up because of the current situation. Now, who are these students? These students are not 16 to 22 in the engineering colleges or graduate colleges, not students. It is actually people a good 20% are over the age of 25, and about 50% are in jobs and financially independent. Now, these numbers are very, very conservative. I think in today's world, almost everybody has to learn or you become irrelevant. So we are all lifelong learners, and it takes about 50 years to kind of get there as careers evolve. And it's important to see the trend and be able to figure out what is it that you like and what is the trend coming up, and hence what is the job you want to target. Okay, let me go reskill for that. Alternatively, you can say, I want to reskill on on something, on X, on Power Apps, and let me figure out what I can do from there, either way. So this is for people who want to code, right? So learn computer science, very easy, code.org. You can finish this in a week and then get on to the next. AI Business School. Now this is for people who don't like coding, who are managers, middle managers, senior leaders, execs, or maybe even people who don't want to code but do want to partake in AI. So this is AI Business School. There's a link here. You can go check it out. There are courses which you can go through and actually get certified at the end of it as well. This is, I want to leave, scan the QR code or go to the link and find Learn in Docs. So this is Microsoft Learn. This has got role-based learning. So you can pick what role you want to be in, and it will tell you what is the learning path you should go through. And it gives you some badges when you finish it. So you can just do that learning, or you can go and certify. So there are certifications along with almost every learning path. You can go certify. So when you apply for the next job, you have something to prove that you have completed it. But not required to certify if you are going to apply that skill, do a project, put it in GitHub, and give a GitHub resume rather than a paper which says, I learned this, I certified there, etc., etc. A lot of tutorials, APIs, code examples are there. It's going to be useful for you. And then here's the community. So it's all about being in the community, learning from the community, and sharing with the community. And that's how populations grow and thrive. This used to be the case long back. And then we got all busy in our work and travel and stuff like that. But now that we have time, let's find these communities online. And once the restrictions are over, you can go be in physical meetings and kind of know what are the trends from there and know how people are learning, what are the blockers, all of that, and be prepared and get going. Now this QR code will take you to the newsletter and community that my team runs, which is a Microsoft community. And there's a newsletter that comes out every month with what are the big stuff that is happening, what's the technology, some cool articles on how to get started on a certain technology, etc. So if you want to have that, you can go join that. We're almost at the end of my presentation, and I want to say that there is opportunity and there is responsibility for us. So we spoke about the opportunity all this while, and I would say that the responsibility lies in making sure that whatever we do is ethical, privacy, trust, all of that. Make sure that you're aware that it's a responsibility of people on the ground who are coding as well to make sure that these things are in line with global ethical standards and stuff like that. So know what you are coding, know what are the ethical guidelines or privacy, etc., and stay with that. In general, we all have a responsibility to make sure that we are digitally literate, and then helping each other and the nation to kind of go past the current situation that we are in. So net, stay on the cutting edge of technology, not just now, forever, right? So know what's the cutting edge of technology, what's coming, and how would you know? Talk to people, go to communities. That is why the whole community thing is important. You cannot know too much just sitting by yourself. So stay on the cutting edge of technology. Prepare yourself for your own success, right? So take control and take charge of your education. There's a lot of resources out there, a lot of people who can help you, but it's up to you to kind of find them, find that out, and go with it. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am. That was so informative. I'm sure this is the first time many of us are getting to listen to so much of information, and the kind of community that you just spoke about. I think the entire people listening today would be extremely thankful that they can go online and start searching for it. Going through your presentation, two things that caught my eyes was one, you said the importance of communication, and secondly, the citizen developers. Well, I'm extremely proud saying this. The government of Kerala, and to be specific, ASAP, Additional Skill Acquisition Program, well, they were pretty proactive. From the year 2012, we are focusing on the communication, and we are offering foundation module to the student community of Kerala with 180 hours of 180 hours of training, which includes 100 hours of communicative English and 80 hours of IT, which means we are spot on when it comes to the future requirements. And there's,
Absolutely.
there's another set of thing that caught my eye as well. You said a lot of technologies and a lot of job openings that's coming forward. The artificial intelligence, machine learning, IoT, and so on. I would like to inform you as well that our CSP Community Skill Pumps that's launching in our state. We already have 9 of them. We'll have another 8 of them coming up in the future as well. All these centers are focused on specific job roles and specific job openings that's coming in the future. And the CSP that I'm in charge of at the moment is already training people on courses like artificial intelligence, machine learning, cybersecurity, and so on. So extremely happy to see that.
Wonderful. That's very commendable. I think ASAP is doing tremendous work by bringing these opportunities, and I hope people kind of realize what they need to do and take part and take advantage of these things that are happening. So great work from ASAP, and I think Kerala is kind of at the forefront in a lot of things. So this should be another area that we are at the forefront of.
I'm sure our organization will start looking at more as well. Thank you so much, ma'am. Well, it's time for us to take a lot of questions. We'll see what are the questions that's coming up. But at the moment, I request all the participants to post your questions on the Q&A box. We start off with a question. There's this question that's come up which says, what exactly would be your advice to the public who are undergoing this lockdown period? And probably this is the first time the entire globe is kind of facing a lockdown. How exactly would you recommend effective utilization of this period? What needs to be done? What needs to be trained on? What is the kind of training that we need to look at?
Right. Great question. I think that's on top of mind for everyone. So I'll tell you from what we are doing. And we spoke a little bit about noticing the trends and identifying what is the skill that is required for jobs that emerge out of that trend, and then go skill up. So definitely a good part of the time at this point should be spent in upskilling. Now, what are the jobs that are coming in? And it is very dependent on what your particular situation is. But a good way to look at it would be that if I have a job and that job is going to change, or whether it's going to change or not change, you have time on hand probably, because you're saving time, that you're not commuting, and you're staying at home. But what happens is work expands to fill the time. So what we see happening really is that you're just working more longer hours at home, and it's a never-ending thing. So it's important to create boundaries of work and make sure that you're taking out 20% of your time, or 30% or more, depending on your particular situation, on identifying what is it that I need to skill up on. So what you need to skill up on is dependent on your interests and the opportunities that are available. We spoke a little bit earlier about on technology, what are the jobs available? If it's a citizen developer, I would say if you don't have any technology know-how today, I would say get started with basic stuff like, say, the Power Apps and Flow that I spoke about, or maybe web app development, or maybe not even technology, right? Even on communication, you have stuff. So it totally depends on what is your mind space and what is your interest. You don't want to go blindly behind some trend, because it's not fulfilling, and you may do best when you go where you have some talent. So take a little time to identify that, and that you can do in communities, or in mentorship sessions. I think ASAP is already also planning some mentors right? So if those kind of schemes or programs come out, then you can connect with mentors and understand a little bit more about where you should be going. At this point, I'll probably share some of those slides with Varghese. You guys can have a look at what I've already mentioned. What are the opportunities already there? And then I think globally, because of work from home, a lot of the jobs will be available for you from where you are sitting. So clearly on the tech side, I can say very strongly that getting into the software development side is going to pay off. But it's not just software development, there are other areas as well. So please explore that.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Well, we have this question from Ananya Sanjay, and she asks, what are the technical skills that you require on your resume? Is it based on your interest or is it more focused on your career? What needs to be your priority is what she asked.
Right. So if you're building a career in your interest area, that is great. So typically, job hiring manager will look for skills required for that particular job, right? But interestingly, today we also look at skills outside the job. For example, when we hire people into a new product division, and probably if it is let's say a new product division, you will look at, oh, this person has some startup experience. They were in a startup. The startup might have failed or gained or whatever it is, it doesn't matter, but that experience in the startup world is actually adding a lot of value to that resume. However, I will still primarily look at, okay, it is a AI project that I'm interviewing you for, then I will look to see some machine learning, data science, that kind of experience. Have you done some projects on that? Those projects need not be with another company, could be a hobby project, but I will want to see code before I would hire you, right? So that is why you should do hands-on. It's not on paper at all. Do hands-on whatever area it is and build your profile, but also build non-core skills.
Right. Thank you so much, ma'am. Well, we have another question, and it says, how exactly can you identify business partners and process of relation building? Business managers, what exactly qualities that one needs to develop is a question.
Right. Relationship building. Interestingly, there are a lot of courses online available on relationship building, but the actual relationship building happens by trial and error, by actually building those relationships, right? But the courses are useful to open your eyes to biases that you might have. So you may think that, oh, this person is from the north, he's going to be after money. These Southees are very learning kinds, but these people from the north would definitely want some money. And that's not true. That's a bias. That's a bias we have. And in building relationship, I think personally, from my experience, I always start by giving before I take. So anywhere that I can give of my talent, of my time, of my effort, I do that. Like I'm doing today. I'm giving of my time just because Varghese and Vinod reached out and said, hey, we need you to speak. I said, sure. I actually asked for next week and they said, no, you have to speak this week. So here I am. Now, what does this do for me and for them? We have created a relationship by getting into this joint activity. So similarly, when you're out there trying to find relationships and to find people who are good for your business, go where they are. You won't find them by sitting where you are. You'll have to go where they are. So if they are in communities, and that's why I said go find communities of interest near you. And you can start with meetup.com. You will know other communities as well on Facebook, Instagram, and all the others. But find those like-minded people or the people you want to meet. Go to the communities, meet up, and then take time to share. If you go to a community meetup, sit there and come back, you've not made any connection. I think for you to go to a community meetup and speak, make your voice heard, whatever it is, and don't worry about did I speak well or not. Just share what you have and ask what you need.
Thank you, ma'am. Well, we have another question from one of our participants, and he asked, while there is a lot of data getting transferred online, are we really safe when it comes to the cybersecurity point of view? What needs to be done? What needs to be taken care of?
Right. So cybersecurity is not new. In Microsoft alone, we have 5,000 engineers working in the cybersecurity division. So it's not new, and it takes a lot of work to keep in touch with the changing situations. So from a platform perspective, a lot of there's an equal responsibility for the platform, like Microsoft. When we put products out there, it's a huge responsibility on our side to make sure that it's secure, right? That the platform you're using is secure, and hence the 5,000 cybersecurity engineers who are working in Microsoft and working with global organizations. Now, there's an equal responsibility on you as a developer or architect to make sure that the platform is fine, but then security is like you can have lock the front door and leave the back door open. So make sure that the front door is locked. That's with you, the customer facing side, and then we making sure the back door is closed. So it's a joint responsibility from both the people. And what do you do for that? There are some standard frameworks, best practices available. You can find that in online courses. So equip yourself with that. I'm seeing one question here. Everyone will have some kind of certification related to the job I might apply. So what can I do to set me apart from the rest? Great question. I'll take a minute to answer that. This goes back to the skills people are looking for beyond technology, right? It's looking for leadership. It's looking for critical thinking, collaboration. Collaboration is huge because think of it. If you're going to be a maverick, you created some technology, but you cannot work with the rest of the people. It's not going to work unless you are in a startup and a small startup at that. But the minute you talk about diverse teams sitting across the globe, and that could be a reality now, or you are applying to jobs in the US, in the Europe, Middle East, Africa, wherever, you need to be a collaborator. So they will look in your resume for proof points of, do you have leadership qualities? Are you good at teamwork, team building, collaboration kind of stuff? Critical thinking, ideation. So all of this. So how do you show that? Maybe if you participated in a hackathon and won something, you are demonstrating two abilities, your ideation, collaborating with a team, and ability to create something new. So that sets you apart. Your GitHub resume will set you apart because even today resumes come with that white paper with a lot of, but if you put link to GitHub showing, hey, here are my projects and go check it out, it sets you apart. Make sure your LinkedIn profile is updated and your LinkedIn profile is a good reflection of what you are. Because trust me, today hiring managers or the hiring recruitment teams are actually doing social media span before they actually shortlist a resume. So make sure your digital footprints are good and what you want to portray.
Well, thank you, ma'am. Well, we have a question from Abhishek, and he asks, is Microsoft providing any platform for web development? And I'm also trying to club another question from Mr. Shamil Francis, and he asks, can you recommend a few skill-based MOOC courses for teachers that will be highly in demand in future, technically based courses?
Okay. So courses for the future. Like I said today, if you look at just today, there's a lot of containers, which is and we have Azure Kubernetes services. So there are a lot of other things as well. So containers is an area which is very, very hot and current. And why is it hot? Is because A lot of the legacy applications need to go online. So what they're doing is the first step, containerize it, and then build further on it. So that is clearly something. The second is AI, and AI is you could think of it as a broad spectrum of anything from non-AI, which is analytics, to the higher end of AI, which is a lot of machine learning, deep learning, and all of that. And then there's stuff happening beyond that as well. But AI is very, very hot. Analytics and AI are both very, very hot. The reason is that when every business has to reimagine itself for the next year, they're looking at no, so now I have lesser budget, lesser people. I have to focus my attention on a subset of the customers. Who are they? How would you find that? You collect data, do a lot of analytics, and slap your own insights on top of it and then decide. So analytics is going to be huge. AI is going to be huge. So for women in the audience, I want to say that please take up data science, data engineering, AI fields. And the reason I'm saying that is because in the future, you will see that a lot of our decisions of which college admission I get, which job I get into, a court order, all of this is going to be either AI assisted or AI dependent. In either case, a lot is on the algorithms out there. And today, it's a male dominated field. And it's a Caucasian male dominated field. So, in a sense, if we are not part of it, if Malayali men and women are not part of that, we will find that decisions are being taken where we are not representative. So I'm saying women because women is an even smaller segment. So I would say go for it, get more and more of your, and it need not be as a data scientist. You can be in any spectrum as a policymaker. So you need to understand enough of AI from a policy and business perspective. You don't need to be a coder for that, but make sure that women are in those AI frameworks and decision making positions, as well as then talk about deep AI learning. So, yep, and then serverless is another big one. So, if that's a thing that you like, then go for serverless. Robotics for sure. These are all very hot areas, but I would say immediately if you want something to pick up analytics and AI.
Right, man. Thank you so much. We have a question from Mr. Roth, and he asks, how do you feel the coming days a boom for life skill trainers, if and only if they are marked as techies? And I also would like to club another question as well, because we would have a lot of people from the arts and commerce stream listening to us at the moment. How exactly can this be clubbed when it comes to technology?
What do you mean by club? Just explain that question again.
Most of our audience that are listening to us are basically more technically oriented people. They want to know what other than technology. For example, we have a trainer who asks, the coming days is all for the technology. Boom for this life skill trainers, if and only if they are marked as techies.
Okay. So I think the coming year and more will show why human and computers will need to go together. In the UX, UI areas, all the design areas, I think it's a very non-techy field. It's a very artistic field, which combines with tech. But the UI UX designers actually don't need to know tech. They don't need to code. They need to understand tech. That's all. And to that extent, I think every field, when we say digital literacy, that's a minimum digital understanding, and an ability to understand technology is fine. So take any field. If you are a life skills trainer, you will tech enable your life skills training. That's what is going to happen. If you are a nurse, you're going to be using more of technology because patient details are going to be entered into applications which are on your mobile or on your PC. You will need to be able to navigate that and then make the connection with the doctor and the other thing. So regardless of what field you are in, the point is to understand technology. So find courses which give you the fundamentals of technology for that field. And today you can find retail tech, you can find health tech. There are courses. For example, HIMSS globally has got a bunch of courses for healthcare technology. So find places like that in your area on technology and then go learn that. And I guess I wish more colleges and universities will also start adopting these industry specific technology skilling, which is going to be super useful. So life skilling, if you're a life skilling teacher, I can tell you that I think you might be building in critical thinking, teamwork, collaboration, all of that into your life skills. It is going to be super, super important in going forward, because we may know what jobs are there for the next 5 years, but we don't know what are there for beyond that, right? And we talked about being lifelong learners. So I think everybody will have a path you need to find, and then go skill for that and make those offerings.
Thank you so much, ma'am. With that, we have reached our time limit. And any message for our listeners, ma'am? What would be your message to our listeners?
I see a last question here. Do the contact list in LinkedIn profile matter? Absolutely. LinkedIn is super important. Make everything authentic in your LinkedIn profile. With that, back to you, Varghese, and thank you for the opportunity. I thoroughly enjoyed this. And I'll tell more of my friends to actually come join me and provide the same time and effort for building our skills and jobs for Kerala. I think my parting words would be back to take charge of the time that you have now, the opportunity that you have now to reimagine your career and your life and how you work and play, if you will. It's partly already reimagined for us because everything has gone online, but take charge of it. Whichever level of technology understanding you have today, go build on top of it. And don't think technology is the only stream, but you should know sufficiently to use technology. So back to the first thing, people first, and technology is a tool. So I think my final line would be that go outside of your room, your house, virtually for now, to find communities, like-minded communities, and from there you will learn a lot, and online communities as well, and take off from there. But communities are a big part of your next career growth.
Well, thank you so much, ma'am. I'm sure many of our audience have heard it from the expert mouth. Thank you so much for your time. I understand 1 hour of your time from your busy schedule is extremely valid, and we have had a valid session as well. We are extremely thankful for your time. Well, on behalf of ASAP, Additional Skill Acquisition Program, and the Government of Kerala, thank you so much for your time, ma'am. Please stay healthy and safe, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Stay safe.